اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه.
Assalamu alaikum. So inshallah we're going to continue with that topic of Shamail. So we're in chapter 11 now. So if you want to put the date, and the title of the chapter is The Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Turbans, Sarongs and Outer Garment. So the first of this is from Jabir, who said, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam entered Makkah on the day of conquest wearing a black turban. So a turban is something that's worn, it's a long piece of cloth that's worn around on your head, basically, usually on top of a hat. Abdullah ibn Umar said, when Prophet ﷺ wrapped a turban around his head, he would let the tail of his turban hang down between his shoulders. So this we're describing a bit more. So the turban is a long piece of cloth and it would be wrapped around the head, and the tail of the turban would be sort of loose, but Prophet ﷺ, he would have it sort of hanging on between his shoulders. Abdullah ibn Abbas related that the Prophet ﷺ addressed the people whilst wearing a grease-stained turban. So this is talking about towards the end of Prophet ﷺ life, just before he passed away, and when he was very ill, and he was giving a khutbah, and whilst he was wearing a turban, the reason why he had it was grease stained, because if you remember from the previous chapters, when we talked about applying of oil, Prophet ﷺ, he would apply olive oil to his hair, and the Sahabas mentioned that he would apply so much oil that his turban or his hat that he was wearing would have grease oil on it, basically. Abu Burda said, Aisha radiallahu anhu took out for us a patched mulabbad upper garment and a coarse sarong, and said, the soul of the Messenger of Allah was taken in these two garments. So Sayyidina Aisha, mother of the believers, when Prophet passed away, he passed away in the house of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, and she showed the people that the clothes that Prophet was wearing when he passed away. And they would use, I mentioned before, the clothing of the Prophet ﷺ and other items related to the Prophet for barakah, for blessings, and various other things. The next is from Ubayd ibn Khalid said, as I was walking in Medina, lo and behold, a person behind me was saying, raise your sarong, as it is closer to God consciousness, and the sarong will last longer. And he says, I turned around, and lo and behold, it was the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and I said, O Messenger of Allah, it is merely a black mantle. He replied, do you not have in me an exemplar? So I looked, and lo behold, his sarong was halfway down his shin. So sarong is something that it's like a lungi, basically, that you see it's a piece of cloth that's worn from belly button up to the shin part, basically like a lungi. Like what you might see when people go to Hajj or Umrah, where you see them wearing that piece of cloth. It's like a it's called sarong or lungi. Nowadays, people mainly from like places like Malaysia or Yemen or Bangladesh, them kind of places, they still wear that type of clothes, sarong, like a lungi, and that's to emulate the Prophet ﷺ. Salama ibn al-Aqwa said, Uthman ibn Affan used to let his sarong hang halfway down at his shins and say, thus was the manner in which my companion, i.e. the Prophet ﷺ, wore his sarong. So Uthman, the third Khalif, he would wear sarong, and it would be up to his, just down up to his shin, basically. And he was saying, this is where my friend, as in referring to Prophet ﷺ, would wear the sarong up to. Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, he was a Sahaba, inshallah, if I have time, I will go through him, okay? He was known as the keeper of the secrets. Prophet ﷺ told him many secrets about towards the end of time and things going to happen. And Hudayfa said, right, that things would happen, and he would remember that, oh yeah, Prophet ﷺ told me. So he was known as the keeper of the secret. So he was somebody who knew, for instance, who the hypocrites were in Medina and various other things. So he said, the Messenger of Allah grabbed hold of the calf muscle of my shin and said, this is where the sarong should reach, but if you refuse, then let it hang lower, and if you even refuse that, then know the sarong has no right to cover the ankles. So Prophet ﷺ, he grabbed his calf and then he said, right, this is up to where you should wear your sarong, or should be up to there basically. And then he said, if you want, then you could have it a bit longer than that, but then he mentioned it shouldn't be going below your ankle. And why it shouldn't go below your ankle, because they mentioned in those days the people who were arrogant and very proud and very, you could say, stuck up, right? They want to like show off. They used to wear clothing that used to like sort of drag along the ground basically. So it was a sign of people showing their arrogance. So we shouldn't do that. So that's why it's mentioned that when you wear clothing, it shouldn't go below your ankle, especially in the sense of being proud and arrogant. However, for the ladies, it's okay for them to wear their jubba or their clothing, so to drag on to the ground basically, to cover their feet. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just for the men, it's highly disliked or even haram, depending on what purpose or intention it's done for. So with that, inshallah, we're going to stop we'll stop there. So may Allah SWT give us the tawfiq to act upon the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and remove any arrogance and pride from our heart, and give us the tawfiq to practice what's been said and to the heart of our children. Assalamu alaikum everyone.